him correctly. They were at the White House. 1,000 thoughts whirled through her mind, but uppermost was, what the fuck am I doing at the White House? The driver spoke to someone outside the car. Dr. Patricia Reynolds? Her window rolled down, and a uniformed officer requested her identification. She handed it over, a bit worried that he wouldn't recognize her from the photo. It had been a good hair day, and the DMV photographer had captured her best smile. But now she knew her mouth was still hanging open, and her eyes were bugged out in shock. Apparently, it was close enough, because her appointment was verified and identification scanned. The officer handed her a visitor's badge and returned her ID. Please wear this around your neck and keep it visible at all times. She immediately did as he asked. When the window closed, she turned it around so she could read it. And read it again. I'm meeting with the Director of National Security? Patricia's voice came out at least an octave higher than normal. Yes, ma'am. He pulled up to an entrance under a portico. Before he could say more, the rear passenger door opened and a face appeared in the opening. Dr. Reynolds? At her nod, the woman said, Please come with me. Patricia was still holding the badge in her left hand and her ID in her right. She dropped her license into her purse and grabbed for her other bag. As gracefully as possible, she reversed her entry into the vehicle. Once safely on the ground, she poked her head back in the door and caught the driver's eye. Thank you. This is quite the surprise party you've taken me to. No problem, ma'am. I'll be here when you're done. The woman who stood in front of her was dressed in a charcoal suit and white shell. Around her neck was a lanyard which held a more official version of the identification Patricia was now wearing. Did they tell you to make sure to keep that visible at all times? She pointed at the badge. They did. Patricia looked down to ensure her jacket wasn't covering it. I'm one of Director Wilson's assistants. He's looking forward to meeting you. Follow me, please. She led her through a secure door into a narrow corridor where 2 Secret Service agents stood next to a metal detector. She handed them her bags, walked through, then watched as they thoroughly examined every section and container in her bags. Even though she knew the 2 men must be used to it, she still cringed when they pulled out each tampon for inspection. Finally, they handed her bags back to her. Welcome to the White House, one of them said. Patricia gave him a weak smile, then turned only to find her escort had already walked off. She hurried to keep up with the woman's purposeful stride. As they moved through rooms and corridors, she tried to take in her surroundings, but found she had to focus on the back of the young woman so as not to get lost. They rushed through a series of doors and up 2 flights of stairs, neither speaking. At last, they stopped in front of a door with Director of National Security emblazoned on the bronze plaque next to it. Patricia opened her mouth to ask a question, but she couldn't even think of one. Why didn't anyone tell me I was going to the White House? Seemed like a bad place to start. They entered the office suite where one of 3 desks was occupied by an older woman with steel gray hair. She too wore a suit, but with a high-necked blouse closed by an old-fashioned cameo. The word formidable popped into Patricia's mind, but it disappeared when the woman smiled. It changed her whole demeanor from schoolmarm to favorite aunt in an instant. Patricia returned the warm smile. Dr. Reynolds, she said, I'm Norma. The briefest of pause was followed by, Welcome to the White House. Did her eyes twinkle a little at that statement? She knows she has me out of sorts, Patricia thought.